Welcome back, everybody. Honeywell recently reporting mixed third-quarter results. Profits beat expectations. Sales just missed forecasts, but shares of Honeywell are up about 27% year-to-date. And since our next guest took the helm back in 2017, that stock is up by 40%.
Whoa.
Joining us right now on set is Darius Adamczyk. He is the chairman and CEO of Honeywell. And Darius, thanks for joining us. It's great to see you.
It's a pleasure to be here. I love the show.
It's a good number.
We love having you. It is. 40% is a strong number.
Got a capitalist in there running the place now. It's awesome.
Let's talk a little bit about your numbers and what you're seeing out there. We just heard from Caterpillar today, and their numbers missed by a pretty wide expectation. I know your sales were just a little short of what the street had been anticipating, but the street's reaction was that, look, this is probably pretty good given a concerning economic environment out there, that this is kind of amazing to put up numbers like that.
Yeah, and for us, revenue is one thing, but what predicts the future is bookings. And our bookings performance was very, very strong. I mean, our backlog was up high single digits for the quarter, and then we had double-digit booking gains in places like China and Middle East, Latin America, and so on. A lot of markets that really aren't doing it. Even Europe was up nearly double-digit for us as well in countries like Germany and the UK. Had one soft spot in Italy, but it's probably not totally unexpected. But overall, we're actually not seeing the softening of the environment. Actually, I was very pleased with the bookings, which is really a predictor of our future.
Well, do you think the economies are better than anticipated there, or are you taking market share from other players?
Yeah, I think we're taking some share in some of the segments. We're doing really well. I think it's part of our strategy. I mean, the way we think about high growth regions is we want to be local for local. So whether we participate in China, whether we play in India, we have a whole comprehensive supply chain there, all the way from the innovation stage, all the way through delivery, marketing, sales, et cetera. And that's proven to be a formula for success. So we're continuing to do well.
I mean, does that make you more immune from the trade talks and trade concerns that seem to rocket everybody else? If your supply chain is local, maybe you don't get hit by some of the same tariffs.
I think, from a pure tariff perspective, I think we've managed that well. But obviously, I think I'm pretty much consistent with every other CEO, particularly multinational CEOs. We would love to see this resolved. We'd like to have a fair trade resolution between China and the U.S. Hopefully that will happen. There was a little bit of progress earlier this month. We hope that that energy continues, that momentum continues, and for the talks in Chile, there's a broader resolution. So that's something, not just from a pure tariff perspective, but just the trust and confidence factors in both directions. And, hopefully the two administrations will come together and get something done.
It is surprising when you see the rise of nationalism in so many different places that you're able to still get higher bookings coming in from some of those countries, particularly China, maybe some of the places like the EU, where we've had some tensions that have really ratcheted up between the two nations. How do you navigate that?
Yeah, we've been, like I said, I think we've been focused on local solutions. For example, we have very few expats in Honeywell these days. Very, very few. I mean, probably less than 20 across the globe.
Wow.
And so we really believe in kind of a local for local mindset in terms of the solutions. They're custom fit for that market. That's what's really enabled us to take share and continue to grow in these economies. Is we don't necessarily act like a U.S. company. We act like a local company. Obviously we have a huge presence in the U.S. as well, and it's going to continue to be our headquarters. But it's a little bit of a different mindset. It's not an export import kind of mentality. That's why tariffs haven't hit us as much as some.
Your asset mix is right where you want it right now. People don't even know what Honeywell's involved with. I think at this point.
Well, as you know, we ran a few commercials, including on your network here, because part of it I was a little bit frustrated with. Everybody thinks of us as the thermostat company. Well, actually, we don't actually make thermostats anymore. That's part of Resideo. It's a business we spun last year. And whether we think about aviation, building controls, oil and gas segment, warehouse automation, these are all segments that we play in. So we play in some very important segments.
Why you've always been such a great target for other companies, because obviously you're $120 billion market cap now, and they were trying to buy you at 50, 60, 70 billion dollars, and now you may go past UTX at this point. I think you're at similar market caps right now.
Yeah, past GE.
Past GE.
You have one division that doesn't get a lot of attention, which is quantum computing. How far along are you? And the reason I'm curious about it is Google just came out with an announcement yesterday that they had reached quantum supremacy.
Yeah, superior supremacy. Yeah. Oh, well, good for them. I mean, I mean, I think for us, it's it's what I call a breakthrough initiative. So we have these things within Honeywell which we fund, and we think that that's going to change the trajectory of our growth. I fully realize some of them will not come to fruition. Some of them will. With quantum, and I've done a lot of kind of studying exactly what quantum is, how it works. Spent a lot of time out on the West Coast. And we have something new and unique. I mean, so much so that I believe this is going to be a revenue-generating venture. And just to, when you look at I'm a computer engineer by education. A quantum computer looks nothing like a digital computer. It looks like a science project and a reactor. So I think we're going to be, we're getting great interest. I think it is going to be revenue-generating next year. And I think it's a promising technology. And the reason we're in it is one of the fundamental technologies that you need is controls. At the base of it all, what we do across all of our portfolio, we're much more of a technology company than an industrial company. And the control technologies are our core area of expertise. That's why we're doing it.
In your daily life, you have an MBA from Harvard, but both of your undergraduate degree and the master, both in EE, electrical engineering, and computer science. What do you use? Do you use them all? Are there days where the engineering background comes into play?
It is helpful. It is helpful. I mean, I'm very comfortable with numbers and analysis, and I like to make fact-based decisions based on data to the extent you can. I mean, you can overdo that because if you're looking for perfect decision-making, perfect data, you're never going to make any decisions. So I do find it helpful, but in the mid-'90s, I had a little bit of an epiphany and said, do I really want to be an engineer for the rest of my life? And kind of changed course and said, no, I really love business. I love bringing technologies to the marketplace. I love being CEO of Honeywell because it is essentially a technology company. Yeah. So my background does help in terms of...
You emigrated when you were 11 from Poland.
Correct.
Do you have residual... Do you remember what the difference in the way things are approached in life from Poland?
Well, sure, a little bit.
I mean, does it make... Yeah. There are people that come from Hungary, people that come from maybe countries where it's not quite the same as here. Does it make you appreciate?
Oh, absolutely.
You do?
I mean, this country's been terrific for me. I mean, I've really came here without speaking the language, kind of landed, and, my grandfather's been here a bit longer, but I came here, and the kind of opportunities I've had has been terrific. Yeah. So I'm definitely a patriot of this country.
Awesome. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we hope to, this. Once people come on, they usually want to come on Squawk again and again and again for earnings or for any corporate news or anything. Thing. So we'd love to have you.
Oh, no, it'd be great. I love it. Like I said, I'm not just kidding. You can ask my assistant. You guys are on every morning in my office. So
you don't have to leave that quickly. You can stay right
Thank
here.
you so much for joining us.
We do appreciate it.
Yeah. We do.
And 40%. That's
40% since you took the helm back in 2017.
What I didn't think was a really low level because Honeywell had outperformed
Honeywell had done very well up to
a lot of its peers already.
Yeah.
Well, for the last decade, we actually outperformed the S&P and the XLI by 2x. And out of those 10 years, only 1 year did we do worse than the XLI.
I think everybody should have an engineering degree and then go into English Lit or French Renaissance poetry. But you should have to have the EE degree to start. I don't have one, but I wish I did.
It's a little painful to get one.
It is. That's what I mean. All right.